It's the end of 2021. I got 2 days left, and so I want to talk about the 6 steps that I'm taking so that next year I can work less on my Amazon business but make more money than I did this year. And for reference, my year-to-date sales are right around $100,000. I do have a video coming out probably tomorrow, maybe next week, about why being a 6-figure Amazon seller isn't all it's cracked up to be, so subscribe if you're interested in that video. But let's get into the 6 things that I'm doing in 3 different areas of my business to make sure that I'm growing and spending less time working on it. But before that, we should probably talk about what the actual goals for the year are, and honestly it's pretty simple. I was thinking about laying out some super extensive goals for everything that I want to get done, but I realized that I don't want to work on my Amazon business as much or rely on it for a lot of income. So pretty simply, the 2 goals that I have are to work about 6 days per month on my Amazon business. This is what I was doing before I moved into the van where I'm living now. I would take 2 days every 2 weeks to source and then 1 day to ship. Obviously, this time frames are going to be a little bit different because I was sleeping at Walmart's, but I haven't been as consistent on Amazon because my time's been more spread out. So even though I've worked more on my Amazon business, the work has been worse. And then the second thing is to sell over or at least $10,000 per month, which is about $330 per day most months. And that'll get me to about $120,000 for the year, which obviously is over 6 figures like we talked about. And I should be over 6 figures, except I took 2 months off from selling on Amazon during August and September. And so I dropped just below the $100,000 mark for the year, but I was a 6-figure seller up until like 2 months ago, because if you look at my 12-month sales, I'm at $110,000. I've learned a ton of stuff moving into this new space about how hard it is to work in the van, because it's literally just a life of transience. We have to find where we're going to work every day, whether that be a coffee shop or in our van in a Walmart parking lot or at a park somewhere. Yesterday we drove around for an hour and a half of wasted time just looking for a spot to work, and I don't want us to just always be focused on work, because the point of moving into the van was to adventure. So on my Amazon business and my YouTube channel, I'm really going to be trying this year to maximize my time, and I'll probably end up working more but in more intentional pockets. So I'm working really hard for 4 days and then taking 3 days off every week, and with that I need my Amazon business to run really smoothly to make me these kind of sales numbers while also worrying and working less. And so these 6 things that we're going to talk about today are going to help me to get there, I think, honestly really easily. Currently, the main way that I run my business is through retail arbitrage, going to Walmart's, Ross's, basically any store that you can think of. You can probably walk into, find something either on clearance or at the normal price there, ship it into Amazon and sell it for a profit. And that's how I made 100% of my sales on Amazon so far. But, and as you guys repeatedly point out in the comments when I'm doing videos while I'm sourcing, there are things that I can do that will definitely help me to make more money on Amazon a lot faster, and I've either just been too lazy or haven't had the confidence to do them yet. The first thing is something that I think I was required to do when I got started selling on Amazon, just based on what the state of Florida requires you to do, because that's where my business is based. And on top of that, I have a video coming out probably next week where I actually am going to get this in the first weeks of the year, because I've probably lost about $4,000 to $5,000 worth of profit by not doing this one thing. And that one thing is getting a reseller certificate. With most states, or probably all states, you get a reseller certificate, which basically tells places that you go to buy stuff that you don't have to pay sales tax on it because your purpose is reselling it. That'll save you anywhere from 6 to 10%. Where I am right now, Chattanooga, the sales tax is 9.25%. That's stupid, but it'll save you that money on your cost, because the customer who buys the item when they buy it off of Amazon is paying sales tax as well, and that double taxation doesn't need to happen if you have a reseller certificate. Not all places will take them, but by having it and using it at the places that I source most, which are Academy and Walmart, I would have saved thousands of dollars this past year just in sales tax that I spent, because if on average I spent $3,000 per month, that's $36,000 over the year. The majority of this I spent at Academy and Walmart, but we'll just say like $25,000 to be conservative. If that $25,000, which all of it I would have been able to have no sales tax on, was at a 7% sales tax, and that means that $25,000 is equal to 1.07 times what I could have spent, so potential cost. Because the 7% is already built into this $25,000, that's why we have to divide $25,000 divided by 1.07. And if you're not a numbers person, I guess you're just gonna have to trust me on this. It means that I would have saved about $1,600 because my potential cost was only $23,365. $25K minus that is $1,635 this year alone. So maybe not 4,000 or 5,000, but still, that's all money that can be in my bank account right now if I would have just gone through the simple process of getting a reseller certificate. But it's something that I've never done, so it was daunting. But that's one of the first things that I'm going to do this year, probably next week, because I want to make a video on it as well and help you guys who have any questions about the process as I go through it. The second thing is also very important, and is something that if I get this done, will lead me to spending much more money at a much higher return on investment while I'm out spending the same amount of time sourcing at places like Ross and Marshall's. And that is getting ungated in Nike, Adidas, and all the other major brands / toy toy companies that I would want to get ungated in, because there are so many of them that people have let me know how to get ungated in them, and I figured it out on my own. I just haven't gone through the process of getting my reseller certificate, which is required for some of these. It's not if you want to get ungated in like groceries or topicals through Frontier Co-op or something like that. But I will also, obviously, everything that I talk about in this video will have videos coming out in the next year, because I want to just document everything that I'm doing with you guys. But getting ungated in things like Nike and Adidas will open up so much profit for me when I'm sourcing at Ross's and things. Because I like to source in the category of sports and outdoors most often, and there's so much in Nike and Adidas that I'm missing out on, even just in apparel. Getting this done will allow me to walk in and out of stores spending $500 to $1,000 instead of being happy spending $100 to $200. And even though I was able to sell almost $100,000 this year, I would have easily been able to if I wouldn't have taken 2 months off. If I can spend that same amount of time or even less time and make more money, that's my goal over this year, so that I can enjoy my life more and have more money to enjoy it. But I want to get this done soon, because you never know when Amazon's going to shut off the stream of allowing more people to get ungated in specific categories and products. So the sooner I get this done, the better. The second thing that we're going to be talking about isn't in terms of retail arbitrage or the other thing that you guys are probably thinking it's about, because I will get to that, but it's in just overall reselling things that'll make my life a lot easier and help me to make more money in less time. So the third step in this process is by networking. This is with other people who create on YouTube, who have already connected with a little bit, but really trying to dive a little deeper in those relationships, as well as with a lot of you guys who are in my DMs asking me questions in the comments down below. I don't have any plans to make any sort of platform or Discord or anything, but the more information that I can get from you guys and you guys can get from me, the better it will make both of our reselling experiences, as well as connecting with people in DMs and actually just getting more one-on-one conversations. I much prefer to be like all alone and not asking anybody for anything, because I like to think that I don't need help with anything, and I don't necessarily need help, but that road has taken me a lot longer to get places than it would have if I would have had help along the way, or networked, or asked the right questions to the right people. So that's something that I'm really going to try to lean into this year. So if you want to chat Amazon or anything, hit me up at AMBDNZA on Instagram. Especially people who are commenting all the time on this channel. If you have an Instagram, I would love to build a further relationship with you in DMs. You guys probably know who you are if you commented on at least like 5 of my videos in the past month or so. There's a bunch of you guys that I have in mind. The fourth thing is something that I'm really grateful that you guys have actually given me the privilege to be able to do, and that's on the ability to build multiple income sources, but it's paying myself less out of my Amazon business and really reinvesting almost everything, if not everything, back into that business. I've held inventory debt on credit cards, and I have a video talking about my process with growing my business only using credit cards and holding debt on them, but I don't want to have any more credit card debt at the end of this year. And so by paying myself less, I'll within like 2 months be able to clear out all of my debt and have a surplus if I'm spending the same amount of money. And that being said, if I'm able to spend more money in the same amount of time, then that surplus will likely be around zero, because I'll be spending all of that money with my new budget, which is more than what I'm spending now, and that will allow me to make more money when I do start to pull money out for myself again. I'm constantly thinking about the fact that if I would have quit my job 2 or 3 months after I did, I would never have had any inventory debt in my Amazon business, because I reached the equilibrium point with sending an inventory and selling inventory a couple months after I actually quit my job. And so having to take out $1,000 every month, meaning that I'm taking out $1,000 and saving an extra $300 to $400 for taxes on it, hindered my Amazon growth a little bit. But I wasn't looking for it to grow, I was looking for it to sustain so that I can build this YouTube channel, and that's what I'm really looking forward to taking off over this next year, which is one of the reasons why I'm wanting to spend less time on Amazon, because this is what I even started Amazon to do, and helping people overall, not only on Amazon and building businesses, but with money in general, and being a part of the larger finance YouTube community. So if you have any ideas on that you want to see videos on, definitely let me know, because that's what I'm spending most of my time doing. What's very interesting is that since moving into the van, I've had so much more stores available to me. When I was in Orlando and just reselling there, I would have the same 2 loops that I would do every single month. And sometimes they wouldn't get replenishables of my inventory that I was selling until 1 or 2 months passed, which would mean that I wasn't able to buy anything from that same store. And now, living in the van and literally traveling all over the place, I think we've been to like 13 or 14 different states by now, I'm constantly having access to more places to source. The problem that I find with that, though, is being in the van and only having 1 vehicle now. Chris and I are much more dependent on one another, and I like to work alone, and so having somebody else in the same space, whether I'm coming back from doing retail arbitrage or shooting videos, is a little bit harder for me to do, and that's something that I'm probably just gonna have to get over, as we're planning on living in the van for another couple of years at least. But I felt less incentivized to work and actually go to some of these stores, even though I've seen them, because I know that that might not be the funnest thing for Chris, as just going and sitting in a parking lot. And because of that, and because I want to make more money in less time, The fifth thing that I'm going to be doing this year is actually starting online arbitrage. And a lot of you guys are like cheering right now because it's something that I've talked about wanting to do and potentially doing, or saying that I'm not going to do. And that was true for a while. I didn't want to do online arbitrage, but now seeing that I have more credit available to me than what I spend on retail arbitrage, and just having that all be accessible from my laptop, not having to worry about going into stores, and the sixth thing that we're going to talk about, made me really enticed to actually get started on online arbitrage. But my one worry with it is I'm not trying to spend more time selling on Amazon, and I'm hopeful that just having access to it right at my computer here won't lead me to just constantly searching for products. And if that's the case, then I might have to stop, but I really feel like it'll be something that wherever we are, we'll be able to find inventory, get it into Amazon, spend more in less time, and therefore make more money. But retail arbitrage definitely won't stop, especially because we sleep at some of these places. But this month, if you've been watching, I've been uploading every single day. In December, I am so close to being done and can't wait for that. And I don't think I'll do daily uploads again until I leave the van. This has been a little bit of a struggle, honestly. But as a part of that, I promised myself in December that I wouldn't resell unless it was 4 videos, because I thought that that would help me get more content out. But instead, it just helped me to source less, because there were tons and tons of items that I just passed over that I could have sold, but I didn't have my camera or want to film something because I'd already filmed a couple videos that day. So definitely going to start doing more retail arbitrage just to keep my business stable, but planning out my videos a little bit better so that I don't have to only do retail arbitrage while I'm shooting videos. But let's get into the sixth thing real quick. The sixth thing is getting a prep center. And if you don't know what that is, it's essentially where I buy stuff for online arbitrage, and because I live in a van, I can't get it sent to me. Maybe I could get it sent to a Walmart or something and then pick it up from there, but that's still such a pain because then I have to just pick it up, and our plans change in the van all the time, so who knows if we're actually going to be there at the correct time. And so getting a prep center where I can ship all my inventory to, they do all the prep work and charge me a per item fee for it, so I have to add that into my cost. But that alone will save me so much time and energy, because shipping into Amazon is one of the things that I dread most, that I think everybody who sells on Amazon dreads the most, at least if they're not a numbers person. Some people might dread numbers, but I can't sympathize with that. And so I'm planning on, when I start online arbitrage, getting a prep center so I can ship everything in, and all I have to do at that point is find products, buy them, and ship them there, and then it's pretty much done for me besides the management side of things, which will save me so much time and energy. So hopefully it'll turn a little bit more passive for me, because I'm really trying to spend less time working on Amazon, more time on the YouTube channel, which long term will make me a lot more than Amazon will, with a lot less risk. Before you click into this video to figure out what softwares you might need for next year selling on Amazon and growing your business, let me know your goals down in the comments so that I can give you some motivation, and you can motivate me, because seeing other people's goals is really helpful as well. But if you want to check out my first time back sourcing in about 3 weeks, check out that video right over here. See you tomorrow, and that's the last time I will say that probably for a while. Praise the Lord.